we go. All right, get the stretch out. Is this episode 3 or 4?
Hold on a second, boys. Let me just blow my nose.
This is episode 4, right?
Yep.
All right.
I believe it is.
Here we go.
It is. Wait.
Come on, Deke. Get your numbers. It is 4.
It is 4, yeah.
It's 4. All right. Thank you and welcome to Life on Ice episode 4 featuring Trevdo, our guest, and he is a guy who is very, very much a guy who's a foundation to the community. He's been making videos for a while, videos, and he's been playing the game for a while. He's very knowledgeable about it, and we're lucky to have him on with us in this episode 4 of Life on Ice. And just want to thank you, Trevdo, for coming on. And you didn't have to, but it really means a lot to the guys here and to the listeners just to have you, and also an older voice too that adds, not much life experience,
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm pumped to be on.
So our first topic, we're going to talk about, even though, we're not up on our game, but we're still going to talk about Hurdle's goal and the fourth one, how, a lot of people talked about when it originally came out, showing off too much and just the deke itself, and was that necessary at that position? They were already blowing the team out of the water, and so we're just going to give our thoughts about the question is posed to everyone is, was Hurdle showing off too much?
I'll go ahead and open it up. I think people are crazy, honestly, if they think he was showing off too much. The way I look at it, he had 3 goals already. That's the type of goal you want to pull on your 4th goal. You don't want to pull that on your 1st goal. You don't want to pull that type of move in a tie game, something like that. So when you have a hat trick and you're going for your 4th goal, in my opinion, that's the time to try new stuff. And I really can't understand the people that think he was showing off. I can't understand it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And again, you're playing in the NHL. It's not like a rec league or something like that. They're playing in the NHL. Everyone's supposed to be top competitors, and it's their choice playing defense and goalie. If they want to stop that, he could do whatever he wants. It's the NHL. If he makes a mistake, he'll look bad. The other team can come down and score. So I definitely don't think he was showing off too much.
I feel the same way. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you can go, AJ.
No, Sully, go ahead.
I feel the same way. I think, in a game, you have to make a split decision. It's not like he took all these things into account where he was like, oh yeah, we're blowing the team out the water. They don't have King Henrique in the net. He's gonna do this. I think it's a split second decision, and I think the defense for the Rangers, I think more voices should harp on them for allowing that kind of situation, and a rookie to be in that situation, to already have a hat trick. That's already crazy game enough, and then I just don't think he did it intentionally, but I don't think he did it maliciously.
That's exactly what I think, though. You're totally right, because, if he has 3 goals already, he's probably feeling on top of the world right now. This is one of his first games. He's feeling great about himself. So he's like, maybe if I just put the exclamation mark on the hat trick by getting that nice deep goal. And when he pulls it off, I'm sure, and do you know how many more Hurdle jerseys are going to sell because he just did that one move right there? He's going to be so popular in San Jose, and I have a feeling he's going to be for, the entire season. I have a feeling, everyone's still going to love Ninja Hurdle over there. And I just think it was a great move for him. I think it was fair because, perfect way they said it is if he screws up, then he looks terrible. But he didn't screw up, so he didn't look terrible. And now he's, known by everybody, unless you're living under a rock. So I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, honestly, I think, who was in net? Biron?
Yeah, at the time was Biron.
So that goal probably retired him, unfortunately,
You can't feel
if you want to look at it that way.
He was so good for Buffalo.
Yeah, he was good, but now he's retired, and it sucks to see him go because he was, one of the most stable backups in the NHL. But I'm sure he feels bad, and I'm sure Rangers fans are upset about the goal. But true hockey fans know that it was a highlight reel goal, and I mean, he would have got criticized if he would have tried that, like I said, on his first attempt. So even if he missed, no one would have criticized him on that.
Put the hammer down.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing, is just that if he does it and he fails, he looks worse than, he looks worse off. And so it's a risk, like, putting yourself out there. And but that also, like, segues into our next, like, topic, was just, like, the backlash and all this debate. And even, Seth Jones, people were picking shots at his, like, celebration. And do you think, like, the NHL has sort of the same culture to baseball in the aspect that, like, too much celebration is, like, frowned upon? People take exception to that. And do you think the NHL should try in order to globalize their brand, should they try and, like, be like the NBA and, like, celebrate those dunks or those crazy plays instead of, like, trying to downgrade them when they happen?
Well, I think it's a mark of sorry I interrupted you, but I think it's a mark of professionalism in the NHL where, like, people respect that. If you're, like, gloating and tooting your own horn because you made a nice goal, like, people are like, yeah, whatever. But if you make if you act mature enough after that, like, people will respect you more for that. But then again, people love controversy and stirring up crap, so I think it would get more of a global audience if they did over-celebrate stuff. But I think for people who actually know the game and know sports, I think people will respect them more because they don't over-celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of over-celebrating in the NHL. I mean, you see a couple guys do it, and I mean, in the right situation, overtime goal or a game winner, something like that. I mean, yeah. If you look at the NHL, I don't know, let's say 15, 20 years ago, and look at the goal celebrations, I bet you'll pick up some crazy celebrations. It was a lot worse 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Compared to what it is now. I mean, there's an odd player that celebrates, but I have no problem with a celebration if it's a big goal. I mean, if you're up by 8 goals and you're riding your stick down the ice, I mean, that's a little uncalled for. You're probably going to get your head taken off next shift, but nothing wrong with celebrating a tie goal, a game winner, overtime winner, shootout winner, something like that. It adds to the entertainment of the sport.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And especially, like, it brings the fans. A lot of the fans get excited when they see someone celebrating like that. But I definitely agree. Like, if it's like 8-1 and the guy's like diving and like hitting the glass, pulling an Ovechkin, if it's like 8-0 or something like that, I kind of see like how people might not like that. But I feel like it's how the player feels after he scores. Like, if he wins in overtime, obviously there's going to be a lot of excitement in him, in the building, his team, and he's going to want to express that somehow. And I definitely don't think they should like settle back the celebrations. I think they should stay the way they are, maybe get a bit bigger, but it depends on the goal.
Yeah, I agree. I think, my counter to, like, all this is that Hurdle's goal, I think overnight it hit like 3.5 million hits, or like the next day it blew up on YouTube. And I mean, it's not the celebration so much as the goal, but I think that stuff is what, like, the people who aren't not saturated, but who aren't deeply involved in the hockey community, that's something that could be like a drawing point for them to want to play and take interest in the game. And it's sometimes a little bit concerning how, like, every time, whether it's Yakupov celebrating or, like, Hurdle's goal, there always needs to be a debate instead of, like, just enjoying it for what it is. Like, and they don't do it every game. Like, if it was every game, like, yeah, we could, like, all right, maybe he needs to chill out and bring it down a notch. But if it's like one time, that year, it's I don't consider it that big of a deal. So,
right.
I don't know. That's all I got to say on that. I mean, do you think though that how do you guys, like, how do you feel the brand is doing, like, globally, the NHL? Because I know every time talk of expansion comes up, it's always a lot of the counters are just, go back to Canada so they can make more, it's more profitable in Canada than it is in, I've heard there's talks of, like, Seattle maybe. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, like, expansion, the global brand of the NHL.
Right. I mean, I think the NHL obviously wants to expand, like any organization wants to get bigger and grow. I think, the way the NHL looks at it is you can put a team in Canada and it will grow, but then there's another team in Canada. You put one in Hamilton, and if you put a team in Hamilton, honestly, it's going to take away, some Toronto fans. And you put a team in Quebec, it's going to take away some Montreal fans. I mean, I think that's why they're looking at places like Seattle, and I think they're looking at Vegas for a little while. But I mean, Canada is obviously a safe bet, but you wanna expand, not globally, obviously, but I mean, you don't want to put every team in Canada.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to grow the market other places other than Canada. The market, I mean, the hockey market in Canada
is already there.
Is already here. So you want to get people who are watching basketball and baseball, football. You want to get them to start watching hockey and start buying tickets and buying merchandise for teams in the States.
Yeah, I definitely agree everything you said there.
And I'll just throw agree in for the kids. I agree too. So, the next news that came out, we're a little bit behind, but the big news that surrounded the NHL last week was Pierre Laviolette being fired. People thought it was too soon. A lot of people also thought is Paul Holmgren, the GM, is he the true problem and not so much the coaching? And so I just wanted to kick that around. Guys, do you think it was too soon, or do you think the GM's the real issue, or what is the issue in Philadelphia?
I don't think it's Laviolette. I think he's proven himself to be a good coach, and I really think that Holmgren has done a pretty poorly job done. I mean, Brizgalov was a top goalie in Phoenix, and he comes to the Flyers, and year after year, the Flyers are always having struggles on the back end for defense, and they don't have anyone special there. They have a bunch of people who a lot of people don't think they're good, and defensively, that's what's always bringing them down. And as you guys could see now, they're still not doing good even with their new coach, and I don't think it was a good idea to fire him just to put their assistant coach and as the head coach. I think they should have tried to get someone else, someone brand new, because it didn't change anything, and they're just doing just as bad. And I definitely don't blame Laviolette. I blame Holmgren.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is Philly kind of reminds me of Buffalo in a sense that, like, they're actually not a bad team on paper if you look at it. They have some pretty good defensemen, but they're aging. That's the thing. The defensemen are aging, and they're probably a few of them are going to retire soon. And, well, I'm thinking of Timonen, but I'm sure there's another guy down there. But I just think that the manager needs to do a better job of, players that want to be there. Because obviously Brizgalov, he flopped when he got to Philadelphia, and he's the laughingstock of the Flyers. Now he's gone, though. But, Giroux, with Voracek, there should be no excuse for, a 30 to 40 goal season for Voracek, and, Giroux should be close to a point-in-game player. But that never happens, though, which I find kind of annoying. I don't really understand. So I think the players' drive needs to be there, and they need to get a new do I think it was too early? Yes, but I think in time they should have given Laviolette more of a chance, because he is a fiery coach, and I think that he can do stuff for the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's so early in the season. I don't know why everyone's getting up in arms over the Flyers doing bad. I mean, there's some teams that are obviously doing bad that have no good players on their team, and they need to rebuild, but the Flyers are not one of those teams. Giroux was a point per game last year. The year before, he was over a point per game. The year before that, he was over a point per game. So he's going to come back. No worries on that. They have some injuries, right? Lecavalier's out.
And Hartnell's out.
Hartnell's out. Their defense is obviously not the best defensive core in the game. So, as for their goaltending, they have two capable goaltenders there, in my opinion. Mason won Rookie of the Year. He's a capable goaltender. The last game I've watched, he actually, he played well. He has played well all season, really. So I think, for Flyer fans, there's no worries. Would they start off? I think they're 1-7 right now. They're going to come back. They're going to make the playoffs. It's not a big issue, in my opinion. Firing the coach, that's more of an organizational thing. When you do start off, whatever they started off with 0-4, 0-5, you got to make a change. I mean, if you don't, then your fans and the whole community is wondering what's going on. So unfortunately, in hockey, the coach is the one that gets blamed 99% of the time. Then the GM, and I think eventually you will see Holmgren. I think you will see him fired, maybe after the season, but I guess that all depends on how they do.
Yeah, I watched the interview. It broke because I was at work, and we had on the NHL Network. And one of the things that came up, was that for the Flyers organization, it wasn't just these 3 games, and then it's like we got to come loose. And it went back to last year and how they were really out of it, but they sort of made a stretch towards the end of the season and get back within, I guess you could say contention for them for a playoff spot, but it was still like out of reach. And the problem with their team is that their forwards really don't mesh well with the defense. That's what sort of I've heard, is that the parts just don't really mix, and they got to figure it out. But even after reaching the Stanley Cup, and then they blow the.
Okay, sorry, good.
So, yeah, just to conclude, I think you're right, Trev, that once the coach starts to fail, they're not going to get rid of the all-stars, so the coach, and then if it doesn't turn around, just they start chopping off heads and work their way to the top. And it's the owner, but.
I mean, worst situation for a Flyers fan, I guess, would be them not making the playoffs, and come trade deadline, they definitely sell someone like Voracek. I mean, you're not going to trade a franchise guy like Giroux or even Hartnell and Simmons, but someone like Voracek that's supposed to be a go-to 30-goal guy, you might end up shipping him off to a playoff team for a first-rounder and a prospect, or even maybe even a defenseman. But it's hard to do.
They need a defenseman. They need a young defenseman.
They do need a young defenseman. They definitely need to get better defensively. But I mean, defensemen are hard to come by in this league.
Oh, really. Absolutely.
Good defenseman. There's a couple teams.
Oh, there's a bunch of bad defensemen in Buffalo. You should come and just pick your own.
Nashville has a couple really good young defensemen.
Yeah.
Which they could trade for.
And Nashville could use more offense, too.
Exactly. Nashville could use a goal scorer. Can I sense Roman Josi leaving Nashville? You heard it here first.
That's the consensus, man. That's the consensus.
So, was it Sully? Were you ending it off? Like, were you talking, then it got cut off?
Yeah, I just finished my thought just about, I was just saying how, I guess, for the listeners, we got disconnected, but, you start firing the coach and then you go up. So, I mean, that was all I was saying, so we can end it on that. But, I mean, the one thing to bring the NHL conversation to more events, Edmonton's been on the trade talks, they've been on their BlackBerry.
With Yakupov.
Yeah, and what do you guys think? Is it realistic? Do you see them pulling a deal for Ryan Miller? Or
yes, I think there is.
I can see that, but I feel like the trade wouldn't just be Yakupov for Miller. I feel like there'd definitely be something else involved.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the last time Buffalo traded their star goaltender away, which was Dominic Hasek.
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up winning a Stanley Cup. So, I mean, Ryan Miller's such a good goaltender. To trade him straight up for Yakupov is, I don't think that's realistic right now. You're trading a guy who is at the top of his game for a guy who's a rookie, and you really don't know, honestly, with rookies. I mean, he could turn out. How many top 5 picks in the past have panned out, really? I mean, there's a lot of them that haven't panned out at all. Yeah. So I think that would be way too risky for Buffalo. They'd have to get a lot in return. They'd have to get, Yakupov, a pick, and a defenseman.
And he also, Yakupov was a healthy scratch, this past week, and I don't think that bodes well. Just scratching him, even though they they were playing well. Scratching him just doesn't help, the talks in Edmonton with what's going on and how Dubnyk's dropping the ball, and the puck literally. Like that pun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. I mean, Dubnyk definitely has to be better. He's a young goaltender that Edmonton was looking forward to performing very well, and he hasn't done so. But I mean, it can't all go on your goaltender when he's taking 40 shots a night, stuff like that. I mean, you got to limit the shots too. If you look at a good team like Boston, other teams like that in the top of the standings, they limit the shots every night to under 30. So it doesn't just fall on the goaltender. It's a whole team game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go AJ.
No, I was just saying, yeah.
Oh. But the one thing is that Buffalo rides a very. I talked to AJ about this, and Buffalo rides that very thin line of sort of like Calgary, where you could tell they were on the down and out, but they still held on to those pieces where they could have got more value, and they could have gotten more in return. And if Buffalo holds on and they just keep on trying to tread the middle of the road type of game, they could waste Ryan Miller what he has not left, but just he's in his prime right now, and the more you hold on to him, I think you could be looking at the less you'll get back, because right now Buffalo could be in the upper hand spot where they could say, yeah, we have Ryan Miller and our asking price is this so much, but if you continue to hold him, your upper hand in trade talks can start to diminish, and so they walk a fine line with trying to figure out what they're going to do for the future.
Ryan Miller is, I'm sure everyone knows this, he's a free agent next year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's going to go wherever he pleases, probably whichever team gives him the most money. But I don't know if you guys have heard this, but supposedly Edmonton's on his no-trade list. So that talk is just totally rumors, and a lot of people don't want to play in Edmonton. Mainly, I think it's because it's freezing cold there. So, and they have a horrible team right now. Well, they're playing horrible on paper, but they probably should be playing a lot better.
Do you think that he would go? Do you think he'd take less money to go to a contender?
No. I mean, the whole less money thing, I think that's more of a hometown deal for aging veteran like someone like Solani or Iginla. They might give out a hometown deal and take $1 million a year or $2 million a year. But I don't think he'd take less money to go to a contender at all. I mean, I could see him going to. I mean, there's a lot of contenders. I can't really think of any right now, honestly. I have to look, but I mean, he's either going to a contender or a team that really needs a goaltender. And I mean, Edmonton's one of them, but unless he changes his mind, from what I've heard, he's on their no trade list. Or they're on his no trade list.
From what I've heard, that obviously the Islanders are lacking defensively, so I've heard maybe to the Islanders, but I'm not sure if he's on this no trade list. But as someone from Buffalo and knowing the GM, Darcy Regier, he always overprices his players. Like for Paul Gaustad going to Nashville, we got a first-round pick for Paul Gaustad, which is absolutely insane how he could possibly squeak that out. But he always overvalues his players. There were tons of offers for Miller over the summer, but he always would reject them and ask way too much for him, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is probably because he hasn't gone anywhere, and this is the last year of his contract, so we're either going to have to pay him again, get the whole new contract going, and he doesn't want to be here. He's not going to stay on a losing team. Or we could lose him to free agency and get absolutely nothing for him. So honestly, I think we need to trade him this year because it's sooner rather than later. He's getting in his 30s. He's in his prime, but he's going to be out of his prime soon. He's getting to be a veteran goaltender. He's going to start to age. but I just think that we need to get rid of him now, and that just like his trade value is only getting less and less because goaltenders are starting to like develop and stuff in other teams. I don't know. I just feel like there's more of a market for him now, but a lot of teams are getting starting goaltenders, so like it's harder and harder to ship him out. And that big contract of him.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has, I guess, 4 or 5 really good years left. He's 33 right now, so.
Right.
I mean, Tampa Bay's having a little bit of goaltender issues right now. Ben Bishop led in 5
I don't know if we want to
game,
keep him in the conference, though.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true, too. They probably wouldn't want to. But like you said, Islanders, you never know. I mean, Philly, you really
It's
never know.
possible, but they just got a goalie, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Well, I know it definitely, it's only going to give everyone something to watch, the trade deadline. I'm sure, like, everyone's going to be glued to seeing what that happens with, because it's it's an interesting situation, like, either way, and it's, writers are going to write, and so.
Yep.
So, the hot teams that have started out, particularly on fire, so to speak, is Colorado, San Jose. I had Tampa Bay and Toronto at the time this was written, but they have sort of cooled off. But some other teams that have taken form are, Chicago, St. Louis, Pittsburgh. Detroit's also, sort of always there. Which teams are, in your guys' opinion, most likely to fall off the wagon?
I think Colorado can fall off the wagon, but I think they will because how young they are, and I feel like they've gotten. I think they're definitely gonna fall off just because how young they are, and I feel like teams like the Blues, I feel like they're pretty. They're not young. They know where they're going, and they were good last year, and I think they're gonna definitely continue. I think they're gonna be the President's Trophy winning team. The Red Wings, I think they'll stay there. The Penguins, I think they'll stay there, but for everyone else, I think they may start to drop a bit. But I think the Blues are gonna go to the President's Trophy.
That's what I think, and I predicted it a while ago.
I mean, if you look at all the top teams in the past, and even right now in the standings, they all have one thing in common, and that's 3 really, really great lines. And if not 4, I mean, Boston, Chicago, St. Louis, San Jose, Anaheim's up there. They have a decent third line. Even Toronto, Detroit, Pittsburgh, obviously. But a team like Colorado, I mean, it's so hard to predict. If you look at that formation of their team, they really do right now have that formation of 3 great lines. So, I mean, they are young, which I think as the season moves on, let's say 40 games into the season, 50 games into the season, they're going to start to wear down. Some of their young guys are going to start to feel like they're not used to playing at an NHL pace. McKinnon, different young guys. Even, I mean, Duchesne's, you can consider him not a young guy, but, I mean, he's not a wily veteran compared to some of these guys that have been playing 10 plus seasons in the NHL. So, I mean, Colorado, if I had to pick a team, would be one to fall.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was looking at with Colorado, it's such a mix because it's hard to predict them. I think because Giguère is playing great for a backup, and they right now I'm looking at the stats for Colorado, and I hope people don't go crazy in the comments, but right now everyone's a plus. No one's in the minus, and Varlamov's playing like a number 1 goaltender, which hopefully my thing with Varley is just watching him in DC is he does have the capacity to have really bad and really terrible brain farts where he just does not play the way he should all year. And so the Avalanche, and I know with Patrick, the head coach, Waugh, they have a good gel and a good chemistry, but you wait until that first losing streak happens, or wait till a bump in the road and you start to question the coach and see how that goes. But you're definitely right. 3 lines is so critical, and the average NHL team can have a good top line or a decent second line too, but they sort of fall off after that. And teams that make it year after year are competitive, 1 through 3 and even 4. So I think Colorado's prone to fall off the wagon because of youth, but they'll have that side where they can gel together and push through, the hard comings if it happens to fall on them. There you go.
Just to touch on another team, I mean, you got Toronto up there in the standings, and I know there's probably a lot of people that are going to watch that are Toronto fans. But I mean, Toronto always has amazing ability to choke. So I mean, they had a good start, but I wouldn't be surprised to eventually see them run into goaltender issues where they're playing Reimer and switching to Bernier. I hate that whole goalie switching. I would also peg them as a team to drop to the bottom of the standings.
Do you think that's due mostly to, what do you attribute that to mostly? Would you say it's the forward play or?
I mean, I don't know what it is in Toronto. It always seems that they just find some way to choke, and I don't hate Toronto, but I'm not a Toronto fan, and I'm really not sure what it is. I wish they would just go with the number one goaltender. I wish they just say, Bernier, you're the number one. You're starting 80% of our games, and Reimer, you're starting other. So, I mean, but they always seem to say we're going to play a goaltender until we have a goaltender that's on a hot streak, and I don't like that. I think goaltenders are, I don't know if any of you guys play goaltender, but they're almost different people, on the ice. I mean, they need to be prepared before the game. They almost need to know, a week before the game if they're playing. So I hate that whole goaltender thing, and I mean, I think that's one of the issues there.
Yeah, I know for me, I had a chance to, when I called games and did color, the guy who did play-by-play was a attendee, and he talked about that. They have they're built differently, and that's what I've always hated in DC. They have Noivy and Holtby, and they can't make up their mind, and they sort of have that same attitude that, it's up for the taking, and whoever takes it, and I just think that causes you more, and it doesn't, I don't know of a situation where it breeds competition. I think it just breeds question. And even for the team, you build chemistry, and you for the defensive core working with the goalie, you build that unity. And to not know night in, night out who it's going to be, and essentially have the coach flip a coin, I don't think it. I think it hurts more than it helps. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, am I far off, or am I speaking, heresy, or what you guys think,
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, there's a couple teams it works for, St. Louis mainly, right? They play Halak and Elliott, but I mean, they're giving Elliott a chance right now. But who knows? I mean, who knows? It works for them. But teams the Rangers, Pittsburgh, I mean, Jersey's doing it right now with Schneider and Brodeur, but they're stuck in a bad situation. They have to play Brodeur. I mean, you can't sit Brodeur. I mean, that would be wrong. So, and you can't sit Schneider because he's a starting goaltender. So, I mean, they're kind of in a hard situation, but I mean, honestly, go with your number one. Chicago, Corey Crawford, number one. They go with him. A lot of other teams, they have a number one. Nashville, Winnipeg. And,
it's never been a problem in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I know that we all are here, and so I just want to throw it up to you guys, what I just want to get everyone's thoughts on, because I think it's so hilarious when we all talk about it, but just the promo packs and how it affects not only the market, but just the game. And I think most of us are in upper divisions of the seasons, and so I just want to get our thought play is, and joys, frustrations, things of that matter.
What divisions are we all in? I'm in
Division 1.
I was in 2, but I dropped a bit due to my series I started up, and I'm only using silver players and stuff like that, and just not playing recently. But I was in 2 or 3.
Right.
And I'm in 3.
Yeah, I'm in 3 right now. So yeah, we're all pretty much up there.
I'm the champion.
I'll be there. Don't worry. Yeah, as far as promo packs affecting the market, that was the question, right?
Yeah, and just yeah, we can start with that, and then we'll probably go into rabbit holes. But yeah, we can do the packs and affecting the market.
I mean, you have to have obviously promo packs. That's a necessity.
For money.
For money, yes, for money, and I mean to spice things up. I mean, it'd be kind of boring if we just had the 3, bronze, gold, and silver packs all the time. But I'm really liking how they limit these packs. Like the last pack that came out, the 250K pack. I'm not sure how much it was limited to on the Xbox, even on the PS3.
2,000, I think.
2,000?
Yeah, it was 2,000.
It came out twice on the PS3. I didn't catch it the first time.
Same.
The second time it was 1,000.
Wow.
So it was 3,000 packs, and the second time it went down within half an hour. They were gone. Maybe even 20 minutes. I don't know. So I think that's a step in the right direction to limit the packs. I think they should do that every week with no matter what promo packs. I know it sucks for people who maybe work on that day, but if it's 250K was a huge pack, and if they would have let that go for let's say Friday through Sunday, that would have killed the market. I mean, you would have seen players that were 88 plus going for 20K, and it would have just killed the market. But I think they're doing a good job with limited either by time limit or by number of packs.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Some things that I question, but I don't think will ever be fixed is I think that I know EA wants to make money, and I know people don't have the pucks to spend. But I feel like it should be limited, for the big packs, like the 250,000 packs. I think it should only be limited to 1 or 2 you could buy with Microsoft points or PSN points, because let's say someone's filthy rich and they buy 20 of these packs, they're going to be their team's going to be pretty dominant as it is. They're going to make a lot of players back. And I feel like that, things like that where they're not actually spending their pucks, they're spending money, that's going to ruin the market more than if they're going to spend their pucks than not money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the last promo pack before this one, Canadian Thanksgiving promo pack, they limited that to 5 per person. I think that's the way they should do it. That's perfect. Limit the amount of packs every week. You can only open 5 promo packs no matter what, and that will pretty much make people happy because they're getting a deal on promo packs. They can buy promo packs with their credit card or whoever's credit card it may be, their parents, most likely. But I mean, limit it to 5, and that's going to keep the market pretty much straight on.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
I'm happy with that. I mean,
I just wish that, honestly, they make those, the last pack, 250K and $20. It's just a ratio for the pucks to the money. Encourage you to spend money on that. That's what really just kind of got me ticked off, because let's say 8K is $1.39 with the season ticket, but it's $250K and $19.99. So you're obviously going to have a better chance if you spend money with, you know what I mean, though? The pucks ratio that's just kind of bothers me a little bit.
And that same pack was in NHL 13, and it was only 100K in that pack.
It was 100K. So they're just pushing more. I just find that annoying.
I think why they may have pushed the 250K mark is, I think, I bet EA is probably aware of the puck glitch, and whether or not they fix it, I know they've come out with the console sort of limitation, but I've heard, there's practically a glitch out every day now from what I've read on Twitter. And so I think they bumped it up because they realized that people have found end arounds to in the collection. I mean, people are cycling collections like a club, and so I think they realized that 100K is becoming like chump change, and in order for them to make, I don't even know if they make profit off the packs, but at least to make the player give up something, they bumped it up to $250.
Who makes profit off the packs or doesn't?
Well, I was saying when you use pucks, like not current.
Okay,
EA pockets it, but if you use pucks, like do they profit off it? I mean,
well, obviously,
yeah.
I mean, technically, if you buy a pack with real money and you sell your players, you're paying real money for pucks. You can look at it that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do the math, and it's $20, right?
Yeah.
And there were 3,000 packs that came out. That's $60K right there. So EA made $60K in 2 days, which is insane to think because I make around that a year working, and they made it in 2 days selling virtual hockey cards.
I believe, did you only count that for one system, or did you take advantage for the two? Don't there be 6,000 packs?
Exactly. I mean, times that by 2, so.
Yeah, $120,000.
It's insane to think about, but I mean,
And they sold out quick, too. It wasn't like a month process. They did it so fast.
Exactly.
Well, I was talking about if you bought that pack with actual pucks, not with money, like.
I don't think EA would make a profit.
I don't
feel like
think.
That's just like.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, they don't make
a
profit at all off that.
But then people aren't going to want to spend all that, so they're going to basically the go-to thing is to spend actual money.
Definitely.
But my thing with the 250 though is that's not fair to the players who didn't do the puck glitch,
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it isn't. Really.
The whole situation is pretty sticky. Like they can't really get rid of the collection glitch because then what happens if people are actually trying to do the collections?
Well, the issue is some people play this game just like any other Ultimate Team game, whether it be FIFA or Madden. They play it just to collect players. There's a lot of people out there that just want to collect players. They just work the market. I mean, I know people that just work the market. They haven't even played one game yet. And from what I got, EA, what they did was, one, they made it so that you could only have collections. You can only collect one team per
IP, I believe.
Per IP or per system.
Yeah.
And then secondly, the last fix they implemented was that you needed to have a certain amount of games played before you could do a collection.
Yeah, I saw that too. So they're definitely taking steps in the right direction because that would definitely neutralize a lot of the collection glitch and stuff like that. And especially, I don't think people are going to be buying multiple Xboxes just to do this collection glitch. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. And I feel like they can't really do much more else to fix that.
Right. I mean, honestly, if you're really, and I talked about this on my live stream a little, if you're really going to spend the time, and if you think about it, to trade all your players from one collection to another,
you can say it, Trevdo. It's
going to take you like at least an hour. Like, let's say you do the Florida collection, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, I gave my brother the Florida collection. He doesn't play NHL all that much, and he's honestly horrible at it. But to get him a free 30-some K, I gave him the Florida collection. And, I mean, if you're doing it like that, it takes a little less. But let's say 20 minutes. But if you're doing it yourself and you're going to create a new account and go through all that trouble, it's going to take you like 45 minutes to an hour per team. And really, if you want to do that, you're probably not very good at playing this game. Because you're wasting your time doing that, and two, you probably should be reading a book or watching a movie. Because you're going to look back in a couple of years and you're going to say, I spent like 30 hours of my life collecting virtual pucks. So, I mean, if that's your style, then go to it. But I mean, it's not mine. I have 74 games played, which is not all that much. But when I get on this game, I don't work the market. I like to just play the game, honestly.
Well said. well said.
Yeah.
I agree. I for me in Hut and like the whole glitch situation, I do find that sort of true though. That I've seen that people, at least in my small limited experience with people who use the glitch, they are not very, not even at the market, but you're right, Trev. Just like with the game in general, they're not that. I don't want to say skilled, but they're not that skilled at it, and
I mean, the big issue is with people doing this and getting over $1 million pucks, and then they go grab a Crosby off the market and all these good cards off the market, and they relist them for double the price that no one can afford, except other people that are doing the glitch, and it just feeds to people abusing the system.
Yep.
So that's
sorry guys, I gotta get going. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya, AJ. But yeah, either way, I do like though that how EA is aware of it and they are trying to fix the situation instead of just allowing it to run rampant, So.
Yeah. And I also like how they added players, like new players who got traded and picked up on free agency into Hut. That's something I don't think I've seen from EA where they actually implemented like a new player into Hut.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually quite impressive. That's brand new. I don't know if any of you guys played Madden. I haven't played FIFA, so I'm not sure how it works in there. But Madden, they add new cards if a player gets traded. They add a new card into circulation, so it's kind of neat. I'd like to see that, but I can almost guarantee you we won't see it. But it's nice to see that new rookies, and players that got picked up off free agency are added into the game right now.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. I can maybe see during trade deadline they change a few things up, but that'd probably be it.
Yeah, I can't even. I can almost guarantee that won't happen. It's just, that's why they implemented team change cards to kind of save themselves from putting new cards with players on different teams into the market. I actually hate team change cards. I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole, but
no, we can. I'm open to.
I'm not a fan of team change cards. I think if you want to have good chemistry, you should play your Sharp, Taves, Kane line. The game should, you shouldn't just have to. For me to get a 99 team, it's so easy right now.
Yup.
Chemistry, to me, I don't know if it's just a placebo effect, but to me it makes a huge difference if I play with a 70 chemistry team compared to a 99 team.
Yeah, I agree. It's just too easy to get good chemistry. Like, you shouldn't just be able to be like, oh, I want to get Crosby, Datsuk, and Ovechkin, and change all their teams, and bam, 99 chemistry. And I think chemistry should even play more of an effect, and they should get rid of change team cards, so people are actually going to have to think of who they're going to want to put on what line, and they're going to want to make sure they're just not going to be like, oh, I'm going to pick up these players because they have the highest overall.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe it's better. You kind of have to weigh your options, honestly. You want a player with a 90 overall who's on a different team on that line who's going to bring the chemistry down to an 80, or do you want a same player who's going to bring the chemistry up to 99? You'd really have to go by feel. So,
yeah, I think they made Hut in with regards to what you guys were saying. I think they made it. It's almost like a brain dead thing. There's no strategy because it's just like change team card, and when you play with actual rosters and no change team cards, you really have to think like sack chemistry, like you guys said earlier, and it's a little cheap. And even I sort of like how they took out career or like having that career length, but at the same time it did make it more of a challenge, like realizing that an all-star was coming up and you have to save pucks to replace him, as opposed to just like my team's set now 1 through 4, and I don't need to change anyone, and so it's done.
Takes the purpose. It takes the purpose of Hut away. I definitely agree. Like, I like how they took it away due to, like, say you pull something really good, like a nice card, you buy a nice card, and he's there forever for you. But then again, it takes away from like the whole Hut experience, and like he could be gone in like 100 games. I think what they should have done was the players who are high overall, like the more legendary players should have more games played. Like they should be able to play more games, not just by their age. Like I believe they did in NHL 12 or 11 or whatever it was, but I think, like, say you pull, like, Crosby, he has 500 games or something like that, and that's how it should work. But yet again, there's definitely a lot of, like, cons with the whole careers.
I mean, if you're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, having careers and players retiring is a horrible, horrible standpoint because people are not going to want to buy packs with real money for players that are going to retire and they can no longer use again. So it's really a money thing.
Yeah, definitely.
If you break it all down, it's a money thing. I don't like it, but I don't spend money on this game. I spent $10 and that's all in 3 years. So, but I understand people that want to spend money on this game and they want their players all year. So
yeah, I agree there too. Especially like, they're not even going to want to play with the players too. So there's going to be less people playing games because they're going to be like, well, I can't like use 10 games on Crosby. His price is going to drop.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of that. I mean, an untouched card in NHL 12 was definitely of high value.
I think then that like a fair, reasonable balance between strategy and also having, you know, the desire to buy packs then for next year would be to get rid of change team cards.
I definitely think they should do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of getting rid of them, but I mean, really, when's the last time you saw EA chop a feature of a game? I really can't see them taking a feature out of the game. Like, I mean,
I think they should maybe make them more. Well, it's all about like the consumers and market, but I think they should be definitely more money. Like, you can get like a whole change team collection for like under like $5K, maybe $10K.
Right, a change team card right now. Well, right now because those 250K packs came out and they were player only. Actually, the change cards are going up. Now. They're about, I would say, your average team is about, 1.2K or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it's like on Xbox too. And when there's like mega packs come out, they drop to like 800, 900, so it's even easier. But exactly. I think like it might seem a bit of a lot, and obviously it's not like EA can set the price for them. But I think they should be like 5K, 3, 4, 5K for each one. I mean, to make it actually a challenge.
Yeah, they could. The only way they could price set them would be making them more rare.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean the market on a card like that depreciates because after a while people have all their players and they don't need any more team change cards. So after about 2 or 3 more months, you'll start seeing team change cards drop down to like 500.
Yeah, 500, 600. Yep.
Yeah.
Another way they could get the price up a bit, I'm just going to say one more final thing. They can make the discard price of them even more. So let's say, again, this would definitely hurt the market, and they'd have to make them like come in less. But if like the discard value of a one was like 1,500, someone's not going to put them up for like 1,000. They could obviously just discard it for more. But then again, that'd probably ruin the packs if they were just a similar like percentage of getting them, because some people get 2 of them in a pack, and that's like 3K. So I think they should make them a bit harder to get, and the discard value should be a bit more.
Right, yeah. To make the market stable, you have to have more money being spent, right, for there to be a demand. So you don't if you would bring the value up of the card, you'd have to make it more rare.
Yep.
I mean, I would be a fan of that, honestly. I mean, like you said, it's way too easy to get a full 99 chemistry team or whatever, 95 or above. I think they should be, I don't know, maybe average like 2K per card, something like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's up between like, trying to make a profit and also adding strategy to the game because, the thing is too, they might be making money now, but they're gonna lose money, or not lose money, but they'll make less money, I think, once teams are set in their ways. Once teams are already established and you have that 99, chemistry, all you're really with contracts. And are you really going to buy packs for contracts? It doesn't, I don't know. In a game cycle, they really only have like one, not even a calendar year to really hit that profit margin, and making the change team cards less could drive people more to packs. So, I don't know. Food for thought, I guess. So, we're going to the two life issues that I came up with, I was thinking about, because I know that some of our audience is based in schooling right now, is like how to counter the pressures of school and even work for, one, to make good grades, or one, to do well in your job, and that pressure, especially, in this economy in the States, and I'm sure even in Canada, the pressure for employment for young and in school is very high. And so I just wanted to talk, just about that, how to handle that, how to deal with that. And so if you guys want to, I don't know, fire away if any suggestions that helped you guys.
Pressure of education. I'm not in school anymore. I'm working. But, honestly, I hated school. I did decent in school, but I just hated the whole you have to bring your school home with you type thing. You have to do work after school. I went to college for 3 years, and that was a ton of work. Like I said, I got by, but honestly, to relieve the pressure, I guess you really just gotta study, make sure you keep up on your work. I was a huge procrastinator, and I'd always leave my schoolwork till the last day. Even in college, always at the last minute, but it definitely would have been easier just to get it done first thing. But that just wasn't me. School just wasn't my thing. That's why I chose not to take like a 4-year course or be a doctor or something like that. I'm kind of glad I did. I got out of school with no loans or anything, so I just went right into working, and I had no student loans, which is a big issue these days. But just my only suggestion, if people are looking for how to relieve pressure of school and how to keep up with it, would just be keep up on your work, don't get behind, and don't do drugs.
Do you have pressure, to do well in your job, try to maintain your job, or do you have pressure in that aspect, or not really?
I do. I definitely have pressure at work to. You guys probably don't know, but I work in a production facility. I won't exactly say what we make, but there definitely is pressure to do well. Pressure to run the line good. Stuff like that, make good product. You definitely don't want bad product going out. But when I get home from work, no pressure at all. That's what I love about my job. I get home and I don't think about work at all, which is great, which is what I disliked about school. You got home from school and you had to do work, but everyone has to do it. People just have to realize when you're in school, you go there and you got to really get good grades, and that just kind of builds your future, honestly.
Well, I'll go next. Yeah. I think that was my biggest thing is, I just graduated and I just started a job. And for me, I can work all day, but I love just, when you're done, it's you're dropping, your hands are clean. It's not like school where you have this tease of you may have one class that day and you're like, oh, I have an easy day in college. But we're looking at, 4 to 5 hours in the study room, cranking it out. And, for me, I think there's tremendous job pressure for me, at least, because our Jersey guy left Saturday and I'm working on 2 weeks there, and I'm making jerseys now, and jerseys piss me off to no end because the littlest touch and customers see it. When you expect a jersey to be straight, the whole nine. And so I think for me, I've learned you just gotta walk away, take breaks. And the biggest thing with school that I've learned is that you need to give yourself a realistic expectation of how much you're going to study and try and break that up into chunks. And that's my best advice. 20 minutes of hardcore studying is better than an hour, but 5 minutes every, 15 on Facebook. So that's all I got.
I would love to add in more, but you both basically covered it. I don't have a job, so I'm at school still, and obviously you want to get your work done. You don't want to slack off. You don't want to act as it's a joke, but you also want to have, like, good times. Like, you don't want to 99% focus on just school and all the stress of that. Sure, you want to hang out with friends. You want to do stuff you enjoy, but you want to mostly spend your time with school, and a big thing is focusing in school and not, like, fooling around in class. You want to pay attention and stuff like that, so when you do get home and have homework and tests and stuff like that, you're not like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I falling behind is probably the worst feeling ever in anything. I mean, you definitely got to keep up, and I think that's the main focus in school. If I could go back, I would definitely study more. I didn't study at all in high school, and I couldn't imagine how well I would have done if I studied just a little bit. But keeping up, I mean, there's a lot of kids that just fall behind, and it's because they can't keep up. They either spend too much time on the computer, stuff like that. But yeah, you got to keep up. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think the next one, I don't know if it falls. It may fall with us. Trev, is just like being negatively stereotyped. Once you're known in your community as, whether it's fat, lazy, not socially there, it's very hard to break out of that. And, people, I think a lot of our young listeners probably are dealing with that. And what are tips to sort of break that mold, or how do you deal with that if you are stereotyped as socially awkward or fat or lazy or whatever it may be?
Well, I mean, generally speaking, if you are stereotyped as being lazy and you actually are lazy, then the only way to change that would be, to get up and prove to people that you can actually do something. As far as being stereotyped as something you're not, I mean, that would be a whole different issue that you really would just have to communicate with the people that are stereotyping you as what you're not, and just try to convince them. I mean, but if you're actually being stereotyped as fat and you have a weight issue, I mean, you got to deal with that. You got to get to the gym. You got to eat right, eat healthy, just simple stuff like that, I guess. I mean, I've really, not to my knowledge, have ever been stereotyped. I guess I could say maybe some people think of me as a little standoffish. I don't really go out and party, go to bars and stuff like that. I might, once a month or something like that. But honestly, I'd rather stay home, watch a movie, than go out to a club and dance. But I mean, that's just who I am. And if people want to stereotype me as an introverted person, I'll tell you right now that, yeah, I honestly, I'd rather stay home and watch a movie than go out to a bar and hang out with a bunch of people I don't know.
Deke, do you want to go next, or do you want me to?
I'm trying to really think of stuff I want to say, because if I say something, it's not going to be that much stuff. Like, I've never been really stereotyped, and I could see how people can be, and it can annoy them, but basically what Trevdo said, like, if you have an overweight problem and people are just, like, talking about you, sure, it's pretty depressing, but you have to overcome that, and like he said also, if you're called lazy, and you actually are, you have to overcome that and show people, but I really don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, when, for me, like, there's an area in my life, like, I was made fun of for being fat, and I look back at my childhood pictures, and I was, like, skinny as a rail, and so I look back now, and I'm like, I don't really understand the correlation, but, whenever you're made fun of, there tends to be this, first off, if you're in school and you're made fun of or you're stereotyped, I think your first thing should be to evaluate what is the person's relationship. Like, if these are just the cool hip kids, then, you probably have your own group of friends that you associate with, and so they're not even at the top of the radar for you to really care about and make that effort. Because Trevdo's right, like, if you have people who negatively stereotype you and they are of importance, you should go to them and be like, figure out either why they're doing that or get to the bottom of it. But if they're just like junior hires who don't know their whatever, they don't know any better, I think you should evaluate that. what's their worth to you. And I think too, like, with the fat stuff, I think if you are fat, I think there's something to be said, about proving people wrong, and that can really drive people to think to levels that you don't know if they could reach without that negative criticism. So, allow that to motivate you, but that's all I've got. That's the best I could come up with on short notice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're, kids are cruel, man. If you're under the age of 16, you're gonna get made fun of. There's one point in your life, you're probably gonna get bullied. I think everyone will get bullied. I mean, it's kind of hard to change if you have a weight issue when you're young. It's mostly determined by your parents, or maybe you have a medical condition. I don't know. If it's a medical condition, then there's not really too much you can do about it. But, if it's an eating condition, then, you have to change that. And it's hard to change that when you're younger because most of the food is what your parents make. But, if it's a serious issue, you should probably talk to a doctor and go on a diet plan or something like that.
Yeah, and I would just say, like, you talked about everyone in their life, like, will get made fun of. And I would say, like, that's so true that people are going to go through that stage, whatever, you get made fun of. But I would not, those people are going to leave your life, and, you're going to meet different people. And so don't carry, like, those past experiences and those negative thoughts, and don't allow that to treat how you, I lost the word, but don't allow those past, like, sort of steer the ship on how you treat new people or new friends. And, that's sort of what I learned. Like, even though you may get double crossed, it sucks, but still allowing yourself to meet new people and make new friends is, rewarding. And so that's all my 2 cents. That's all I got.
I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so just want to say, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. I think it was a quality episode, and I think I just enjoyed hearing your thoughts, and I don't know, it was nice to just to finally do it, because I sent the schedule out and just scheduling issues and stuff came up, but I'm glad we were able to get it done. And I hope it was worth the time that you spent with us today.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, man.
So, all right, guys, take it on episode 5.
See you guys later.
All right, I think I
need your love, I need your time. When everything's wrong, you make it right. I feel so high, I come alive. I need to be free with you tonight.
I need your love. You know I need your love.